October 27, 2022. Elon Musk, billionaire, inventor, provocateur, finalizes the deal. Twitter is his. $44 billion. Promises of radical change, a new era, free speech, less censorship. Then, almost immediately, users saw chaos. Changes turned hotly controversial, advertisers raised alarms, features broke, trust wavered. What looked like the beginning of a revolution rapidly morphed into a drama with no clear ending. But what did Musk inherit? What did he break? And where is X now in 2025? Before the takeover, Twitter was a giant in social media. Hundreds of millions of active users, a core platform for politics, social justice, protests, cultural movements. It was the place where world leaders spoke directly to citizens, where journalists broke news in real time, and where ordinary people could spark global conversations with a single post. For better or worse, it served as the digital global square. Elon Musk had long criticized Twitter's moderation policies, calling them biased or overly restrictive. Spam bots, shadow bans, free speech concerns all became fodder in his public commentary. Musk himself was one of Twitter's most followed users, often using the platform to announce Tesla news, crack jokes, or stir controversy. His relationship with Twitter was already complicated before he even considered buying it. By early 2022, his interest in owning Twitter became clear. In April, he offered to buy the company outright. What followed was months of back and forth. Musk claimed Twitter had misrepresented how many spam or bot accounts existed. The company resisted, lawsuits loomed, headlines followed every twist. Finally, on October 27, 2022, the deal closed. Musk was now the owner, officially, privately. Twitter was no longer a public company with shareholders. Its fate rested in one man's hands. Almost immediately, Musk began making sweeping changes. One of the first sparks, the verification system. For years, the blue checkmark was a simple but powerful signal. It identified public figures, journalists, officials, and notable voices, helping users distinguish real accounts from impersonators. Musk viewed it differently. To him, verification was elitist, unfair, a gatekeeping symbol. So he revamped it. Legacy verified users were told they'd lose that status unless they subscribed to the new Twitter Blue, a paid model that gave anyone a checkmark for a monthly fee. The idea was to democratize verification while generating subscription revenue. In practice, impersonation problems exploded.
This morning, the confusion over the verified blue checkmarks on Twitter is continuing on the platform.
Fake accounts posed as brands, celebrities, even politicians. One impersonator of pharmaceutical giant Eli Lilly tweeted that insulin was now free, briefly tanking the company's stock. Confusion reigned. At the same time, staff cuts followed, hard ones. Musk argued that Twitter was bloated, inefficient, and losing money. He slashed headcount dramatically. Entire departments critical to content moderation, safety, trust, and ethics were gutted. Layoffs hit engineers, policy experts, communication staff, and moderators. Many walked out in protest. Others were shown the door in late-night emails. The company went from about 7,500 employees to fewer than 2,000 in a matter of months. With fewer staff, oversight diminished. Bug fixes slowed, outages became more common, long-standing safety policies unraveled. Meanwhile, advertisers began to pull back. Brands worried where their ads might show up, next to hate speech, misinformation, or impersonated accounts. The clarity and brand safety that advertisers needed was disappearing. For a company that derived nearly 90% of its revenue from ads, this was catastrophic. Then came the biggest identity shift, the platform itself. On July 23, 2023, Twitter was officially rebranded to X. The iconic bird logo disappeared overnight, replaced by a stark X. The familiar domain name, twitter.com, redirected to x.com. For Musk, this was more than cosmetic. It signaled his vision of a platform that was no longer just social media, but an everything app. payments, shopping, video, AI, all under one roof. Elon Musk isn't a typical tech CEO. He isn't corporate polished or predictable. He runs companies that span some of the world's most ambitious frontiers: electric cars at Tesla, rockets at SpaceX, brain-computer interfaces at Neuralink, AI at xAI. He is brash, provocative, and relentless in pursuit of ideas that often sound impossible. He also thrives on risk. Where most CEOs prioritize stability, Musk embraces disruption. He tends to view problems differently. What's inefficient, overregulated, or stifled must be torn down and rebuilt. That philosophy has worked at times, as with SpaceX's reusable rockets or Tesla's push for mass-market electric vehicles. But Twitter was different. For many, Twitter wasn't just a business, it was one of the last truly public online spaces. It was where news broke, where movements like Me Too or Arab Spring gained momentum, where dissenting voices could be amplified. Having stewardship of that space carried global weight. So when Musk promised a free speech environment, people paid attention. Some cheered, hoping for fewer bans and more open debate. Others warned, free speech without guardrails has consequences. The balance between platform safety, misinformation, ad revenue, and user trust is fragile. If broken, the ripple effects extend far beyond a single app. Over time, several forces stacked up against X. Between 2022 and 2023, advertising revenue collapsed. In the US, monthly ad revenue on X fell at least 55% year over year for many months. Major brands like General Motors, Coca-Cola, and Disney paused spending. Smaller advertisers followed. In the UK, things looked even worse. Revenue dropped by 66.3%, profits plunged, employee numbers plummeted. Research and development roles were cut severely, leaving fewer people to innovate or stabilize the platform. The revamp of Twitter Blue only deepened confusion. Impersonations spread quickly, leading to chaos for users trying to identify trustworthy information. The system was rolled back, paused, relaunched, and rebranded multiple times in a matter of weeks. Many users no longer understood who was actually verified or why. Other features were abruptly removed or changed. The long-standing block function was debated for removal. News headlines and link previews were altered. Trust and safety teams were hollowed out. Policies shifted without warning. Users who relied on consistent rules found the rug pulled out from under them. Some data suggested that monthly active users declined. Engagement dropped in certain markets. Global traffic shrank. Surveys indicated many users were uncertain about the new rules and either left or drastically reduced their use. Meanwhile, misinformation and harmful content became more visible. Banned accounts were reinstated en masse, often with little explanation. Critics and moderation had loosened too much, creating new risks for users and advertisers alike. Musk's management style was also unconventional. He made rapid decisions, often via tweets or late-night memos. Features were launched with little testing, only to be pulled back days later. Employees described high pressure, unclear priorities, and a culture of fear. Morale dropped sharply. Many of the company's most experienced staff either left voluntarily or were fired. By May 2023, Musk hired advertising veteran Linda Yaccarino as CEO, hoping she could restore advertiser trust and stabilize revenue. But many observed that her authority was limited. Musk remained heavily involved, often overriding or shifting priorities with little notice. This wasn't just about one company, it was about the wider ecosystem. For advertisers, brand safety is everything. Ads next to hate speech, conspiracy theories, or impersonated accounts risk reputational harm. Many paused or cut back spending. Some left entirely, forcing X to rely more on subscriptions and new revenue models. For competitors, alternative platforms like Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Threads saw surges of interest. While none replaced Twitter at scale, they showed a clear appetite for alternatives. Users who once considered Twitter indispensable now experimented with other spaces. For regulation and public conversation, Musk's takeover reignited global debates over free speech online, algorithmic transparency, and platform responsibility. The EU pushed for stricter Digital Services Act compliance. US lawmakers debated whether platforms like X had too much influence over public discourse. For Musk's reputation and other ventures, everything Musk does is interconnected. Investors in Tesla and SpaceX began asking whether his focus on X was distracting him. Critics said the chaos at X reflected poorly on his leadership elsewhere. Supporters argued he was simply tearing down a broken system to build something new. So, where is X now? The rebrand is complete, the bird is gone, the X logo dominates, the domain is x.com. Yet in conversation, millions still call it Twitter. The legacy refuses to die. Under Linda Yaccarino, efforts to bring back advertisers have shown mixed results. Some big brands have cautiously returned, but spending is far fewer than pre-2022 levels. The damage to trust and revenue was deep, and rebuilding has proven slow. Verification and subscriptions remain a key revenue strategy. Many legacy verified accounts lost their checks unless they subscribed. The product, whether Twitter Blue or its latest rebranded form, still sparks complaints about impersonation and confusion. Subscriptions generate some revenue, but nowhere near enough to replace lost ads. Advertising revenue is inching upward, but from a much lower base. Brand safety remains a central concern. The UK's division saw catastrophic losses, while global ad spend is slowly returning but remains fragile. Features continue to change. Some were scrapped, others reinstated. New experiments include long-form posts, video content, payments, and AI integrations. Musk still pushes the idea of X as a super app, but user trust remains fragile. There's a deep irony in the saga. Musk promised greater freedom, less control, more speech. But in practice, unpredictability undermined that freedom. Users, advertisers, and regulars don't just want freedom, they want freedom with consistency, with safety. The blue check wasn't only a symbol of prestige, it was a shorthand for trust. Turning it into a paid feature diluted that trust, undermining the very clarity the platform needed. The most radical changes often drove away revenue. Ironically, some of the features Musk dismantled, moderation, verification, brand safety, were the very things that made advertisers comfortable spending billions. In seeking to liberate speech, Musk may have made the platform less stable, less useful, and less credible. The saga of Twitter to X is a reminder that rules matter as much as freedoms. A public square needs guardrails as much as it needs voices. If you believe in platforms that balance free speech and safety, for governments, users, and brands, this story matters. Because these aren't just tech news updates, they shape how we talk, share, and trust online. It's about where we let ideas flow, what content we accept, and what filters we want. And we're all watching. X's next moves, tweaking verification, restoring advertisers, or losing them again, will shape digital culture for years to come. So be sure to subscribe and be here when the next chapter unfolds. I am Chris, and catch you guys in the next one.